So welcome to today's free Foothold webinar, Move More in 2024. I'm Catherine Drake and I'm the Communications and Digital Events Officer here at Foothold. And I am joined today by Leigh-Anne Cruickshank. She's a Senior Operations Manager for a talking therapies organisation and a fitness instructor. I asked her before the webinar, I said, what encouraged you to get started in fitness? Because she began her fitness journey in her early 40s. And she said that she wanted to keep up with social activities with friends and also just to be healthier and around more for her family and for her grandchildren. And I'm sure you'll see what she's got to say on staying fit and the small ways you can get fit and where she started with that. So today's webinar is about, as I said, getting our bodies moving, those first initial steps. Maybe like me, you've got things going on in life where you think, oh, everything's just a bit hectic and there's no space for fitness. That would just be another thing. And there are always things, aren't there? But fitness is one of those things that not only is it good for your body, it's really good for your mind. And it's very easy for it to take the back seat. But today, Leigh-Anne will be looking at the small steps we can all take to improve our fitness in the new year. As always with any wellbeing webinar, I like to say that if you find anything difficult or overwhelming about today's topic, just a reminder to do what's right for you and look after yourself, whatever that looks like. And remember that we do record these webinars, so if you'd like to join us initially and then catch up at a later date on the rest of the content, or you can't make it and want to join at the recording, no problem. We will send you the link out about 2 to 3 days after the webinar and you can catch up at your leisure. So before we begin, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about Foothold and then we'll get started. So who we are. So we're a benevolent fund and we've been supporting engineers and their families since 1890 to ensure that no engineer or their family needs to face life's challenges without support. That's 133 years now we've been running, and I found out this morning that our birthday is the 27th of March this year. So in the busyness of our lives, we can often forget that being well is just as important as doing well. We are funded by engineers for engineers, and we are a starting point, giving engineers the tools they need to make their lives better right now. We offer all kinds of support as a charity. We offer grants, we have partnerships with organisations like Anxiety UK, Shelter, we've got ties to legal specialists. So we've got all kinds of resources that can support our engineers with whatever issue they're experiencing here and now. We offer all kinds of support: financial, health and wellbeing, legal issues, care and disability, work life, neurodiversity and housing, to name the main ones. We also offer digital support, which allows us to reach many more people than we can through our direct support alone. These include our webinars, like today's webinar. We have a free webinar every month for our community. Expert blogs over on our website. We've got the Foothold app. This is financial and legal support and is free to download. The Wellbeing Hub, which gives advice and support on physical and mental health, and the Differently Wired Hub as well. This is part of our neurodiversity package of support and it gives information and advice on neurodiverse conditions, and we also signpost to more support if, for example, you wanted to pursue a diagnosis. We can help people with that as well. At this point, we would ask if you would consider making a donation today to Foothold. This is brought to you for free thanks to generous donations and gifts in wills from engineers and their families. And we're going through a bit of a difficult time as a charity. It's a challenging spot for us. We, as many of you know, we're a charity that is independent of the IET, but we do support IET members and the wider engineering community as well. And as of the 1st of October last year, the IET is no longer able to collect donations for Foothold with annual membership renewals. So that's not something that automatically happens. People would need to come to us directly to donate. So that's what we're asking people to do. We're asking our generous community if they would consider coming to us to donate direct, which you can do by via the link at the bottom there, myfoothold.org/donate direct. And that is about it from me and about Foothold. If you've got questions, you can ask a question at any point during the webinar. If you look on the top right-hand side of your screen, there's little speech bubbles. It may even say Q&A. If you click there, you can type any question to Leigh-Anne and she will be answering questions at the end of the session. And if you don't want to put your name, no problem. You can also tick anonymous and ask an anonymous question. So with that all said, we really hope you enjoy today's Foothold webinar and that you get a lot from it. So I will hand over to you, Leigh-Anne.
Thank you, Catherine. So welcome everyone. I'm grateful for you taking time out of your busy day today to enjoy this webinar where we'll be having a focus on how to move more in 2024. I hope you find it helpful, come with an open mind and also have a pen and paper to hand because it may be that you want to make a few notes that you can reflect back on after the session. So as Catherine mentioned, I didn't really get into fitness until I stumbled or fell into my 40s, and my fitness journey over the last 8 years has been somewhat exciting, from just attending women only fitness classes to then go on to be an instructor myself, which led me to create a running group, and then in 2022 entered London Marathon. I ran it in person in 22, virtually in 23, and I'll be running it for the third and final time this year. So you never know where your Move More journey might take you as we head into the year. So can I have the next slide, please, Catherine? So for many of us, the start of a new year marks a new beginning, and we chance to reaffirm our goals and create new ones. And everyone's goal is going to look slightly different. They can be large, they can be small, short term or long term. Some people have places that they'd like to visit or careers they'd like to pursue, or some of us have a few negative habits that we might want to consider breaking. But research tells us making resolutions is the easy part, but keeping them is the most difficult part. According to research, of people that made New Year's resolutions in July, only 22% had stuck to them by February. So the question really that we should be asking ourselves is, what do I want to do differently this week? What would I like to try next month? And what do I want to accomplish over the whole year, rather than top weighting it heavy to the early part of the year? So with all of this in mind and thinking of our overall well-being as we head into 2024, I've put together some resolution ideas first on how we can improve our overall well-being. And then we'll move on to a focus around little steps that you can take to move more as we head into 2024. Next slide, please. So if you want to make 2024 a change, why not set some goals for each month rather than trying to focus on everything at once? Just to break it down into smaller bite-sized chunks is really helpful. So there might be many that you want to achieve, but one small step is the gateway for so many other positive changes. Making that first one, it has a domino effect to enable you to then consider other areas of your life and things that you might want to try or change. So if you're not sure where to start, I've got a few ideas. So the 4 pillars really of health are move more, sleep, nutrition, and it's around that social connection. So sleep, I think, is one of the most underrated tools to enhance health, performance, overall well-being. Getting adequate sleep helps to prevent excess weight gain, heart disease, and other illnesses. And rest and recovery after you've had a stressful day at work. And being physically and emotionally aware, it's important that you enable your body to repair itself and have that downtime, ready to reset and go another day. So stress influences quality of sleep and lack of sleep, and it can really aggravate stress levels, causing you to become tense, irritable, anxious. And that lack of sleep can also have a physical effect on your body. Your immune system's slightly suppressed and you feel that little bit more achy and not as sharp as you need to be. So on average, you should be having 7 to 8 hours sleep. The cycles of your sleep is really important, and I wear an Apple Watch. There are different apps that you can get, or just even the sleep mode, to be able to set your phone to go into night mode, and then monitor your sleep. And there's lots of other tools that are available for you to do that, just for you to see if you have any particular sleep patterns. But most importantly, your body will tell you if it's right for you. So pay attention to how you feel in the morning, if you've maybe had 6 hours sleep or less, or 7 or 8 hours sleep. But really just listen to your body. Secondly, nutrition, adequate and appropriate nutrition. It helps us to support performance, recovery, mental clarity, and overall mood. So a bit like a car, a bit like a vehicle, the body performs best with the right fuel in it. If you put the wrong petrol in a Formula One car, it's going to struggle to compete with the rest of the field. So it's making sure you're putting the right food in for your body to perform how you need it to. So good nutrition provides you with the nutrients and the fuel to perform and recover. It reduces stress and inflammation on your body, which again can be associated with injury, illness, or mental health issues. And then moving on to the connection. So round about April time, you might have a goal to socially connect more, because the evidence shows it can lower anxiety and depression. It can regulate our mood, lead to higher self-esteem and empathy, and it improves your immune system. One way to connect better, a friend of mine and we send regular voice notes when we're traveling, just so you have that opportunity just to connect and offload, but you might not have that time to just be on the phone. Just send voice notes backwards and forwards. Or how about decluttering your home? I think many of us have a home, a garage, you might have a garden shed, but something to do when you declutter, it kind of cleanses the soul. So have a look around. What don't you use anymore? Do you need some more physical space and there's an old unit there or something? I used to have a treadmill and hang my washing on it. It was a use of not very good use of that space. So it's looking at where you can improve the area in which you live. So often it's not until you've parted with items you realize how much they were weighing you down. So decluttering and organising your home can help you to sleep. And again, it's all about improving your overall well-being. We're in a cost of living crisis, so pay more attention now to our bank balance than we've ever done before. And I really encourage anyone to review your finances, because we as adults have a lot of responsibility and we can feel quite stressed when making financial decisions. Finances can have a significant impact on your mental health and your well-being, but by getting on top of them can really alleviate some of those stresses. You might want to consider towards the latter part or mid part of the year volunteering. There may be a local community group, a children's football team, rugby team, or helping out at the local charity shop. It definitely gives you a sense of reward when you're giving back to your community, and evokes gratitude and it inspires others, and it can just boost your health. And again, along the lines of connection, we're spending that time with family and friends. So when we have personal goals that we want to achieve, it can sometimes be difficult to balance them out in your social calendar. But part of your social goals should be to try and do things together, go for a nice family walk on a weekend, or meet up with relatives or friends in a local park and then go and grab a coffee. So it's all about spending that quality time with those people that are important to you. And maybe one is to check in on your partner. So in our hectic lives, it's quite hard sometimes to have a romantic relationship and put that to the forefront of your mind. What does I need from my partner, and what does my partner need from me? So it might be joint goals. Your partner might be thinking of moving more in 2024. So it's a great time to spend quality time together and do things you might start to enjoy together, or schedule a date night. Or if you're not in a relationship, one of your goals might be to find a companion. So you might want to start putting yourself out there and go into places where you might meet people. And have fun. Like, challenge your inner child. Self-development goals are sometimes really serious. It's important to allow fun and laughter and be spontaneous. It's really important that you remember to have fun along the way. So resolutions are just a few examples of goals that you might want to set over the next 12 months. And other resolutions could be related to a new career opportunity, thinking about retiring, moving house. But whatever they are, try to remember that you can break them down into smaller steps. A new year doesn't need to be creating a new you. You are fine just the way you are. Just take steps towards being happier and healthier. So next slide, please, Catherine. So with a focus on how can we get you moving more in 2024. It's a slow process, but speeding it up. But quitting, it won't speed it up. So I think it's setting those small, realistic goals that you can achieve, which then creates a discipline and a consistency. Then it doesn't become a chore to do it. So you're not going to see instant results. You're not going to feel instantly happier within 2 or 3 weeks. Realistically, you should be setting kind of 28 days to create a new pattern and behavior. And those 3 months, people will start to say, wow, you seem really different. Oh, you look slightly different. Or what's the secret to how positive you are? So I think my reminder is there are no quick wins. Just take it really slow. Next slide, please. So the importance of physical activity. I mean, there's so many things listed there as to why it's so important to be physically active. Physical health can be defined as the normal functioning of the body, representing total well-being. It's about how our bodies feel, how we move, how we care for it, and what you put into it. Maintaining good physical health decreases your risk of developing conditions such as heart disease, stroke, and some cancers. Being physically active will help you manage life's challenges by protecting you against fatigue, injury, and illness. So putting those 4 things together, you know, the connection, the sleep, the social element, and being active. And I will come on to it in a little while, but physically health is closely linked to mental health, and it's an integral part of leading a healthy lifestyle and enjoying life. This is often taken for granted, and it's not until we become sick or injured that we put our energy into our physical health. And sometimes I'm guilty of it myself. We wake up in the morning, and are we grateful that we've woke up, we're not too sore, we're able to get up and go to work? And it's having that gratitude that our body is an incredible tool, and it's also equally having respect for it as well, of what you want to get out of it, and just recognizing, you know, your heart is beating for you every day, and you're able to take in that oxygen, and you're able to go up and down the stairs, and just being really, really grateful for that. Next slide, please. So my question to you is, are you getting as much exercise as you would like? Do you want to move a little bit more in 2024? So whether you're working in the office or whether you're working from home, all of you can use a 90-minute rule. So what's the 90-minute rule? This means that every hour and a half that you get up and stretch your legs. So either head to the kitchen, go and make a cup of tea, go and stand outside in the garden, look up. We often walk down the road or walk through the park and we don't look up. You know, in some areas you see the beautiful kites flying in the sky. Be aware of be in the present. So what do you hear? What do you smell? What's around you? And just take that moment every 90 minutes to create a new habit. And your body will really thank you. A lot. My watch tells me to stand up quite regularly, and I do, and it thanks me for it. So, again, it's the watches are really tools to have, really good tools. So, and walk a little, and once you've walked a little, walk a little bit more. So the NHS guidelines are that we should be walking 10,000 steps a day. So you see that quite regularly. It's the advice from the NHS. It's on a lot of their marketing materials, and it's really encouraging us to get those steps in. And it's achievable for those of you who are on your feet regularly, daily, as part of your job. If you're office based or working from home, it's a little bit more challenging, so you have to plan to achieve it. So it may be that during your lunch you have 20 minutes to eat your food and 10 minutes to go for a walk around the block, or when you finish work, close your laptop, go and walk around your close, walk around your estate. Just get those steps in. But my advice is, don't be starting on the 10,000 steps if you're not used to moving more, or trying to achieve such a big goal of 10,000 steps. So start with something like, I'm going to ensure that I do 2,500 steps per day in my first week, and then slowly start to build up on the step count. You can get the I can't say the word, the little step counter that you can pop on your hip just to track it, and you can get them for a couple of pounds off Amazon and things like that now. And this will just help you be able to track and monitor. Again, you don't need to try and do this in one walk. That would just seem like an uphill task. So it takes on average, I think, one hour, just over the hour, for an average person to walk 10,000 steps. But you can split it up into smaller strolls throughout the day. And as I mentioned, being outside in nature is so rewarding for our mental well-being, and just being, as I mentioned before, that mindfulness, being in the present. So the next one would be take the stairs. So when presented with stairs or a lift, when do you question your decision? Is it just autopilot, that you're just a creature of habit? Or is it that you look at the stairs and think, no, I'm actually going to take the easier route and I'm going to go in the lift? But these small little steps can have a really big impact, and keep a track of how many times you ask yourself when you're presented with the steps or with the lift. How many times you then question it, because until it becomes a habit, that straight away I'm going to take the steps, because it's really going to help me work towards getting that 10,000 steps in a day. The next advice is to get off the bus or the train early. So if you do use public transport, it's a simple and effective personal challenge to get off one stop early and walk the remainder of your journey. Or once it's become part of your routine, you could try 2 days. Before you know it, you're doing it all the time, and it's a new habit. Again, it takes about 28 days to create that new habit. Or if you drive to work, or most of us drive to the supermarket to do a weekly shop, park the furthest away from the door of the supermarket. Park the furthest car parking space away from the place in which you work. If it is the supermarket, and in the words of Tesco, every little helps. So when you get to that supermarket, where am I going to park my car today? And take part in physical activity. So the most ambitious of my tips, really, but the most rewarding. You don't always have to do physical activity on your own. You can team up with family or friends to take part in activities, whether it's finding a walking buddy. On my estate that I've recently moved into, we have a run club which caters for walkers right down to your more kind of elite runners. And it's a really nice community that has that social element of it as well. There might be a local bowling that you can do as a family. That's a physical activity. There could be a tennis court or a badminton court close by. It really will help you de-stress as you socialize, and half the time you don't realize that you're actually exercising. But keep that regular date in your diary to make it a habit. So if you recruit a friend to go walking in the evening, make sure, is it Walk Wednesday? Is it Motivation Monday? What is that day going to be that you create a label to create that habit? Put it in your phone, put it in your calendar, put it in your Outlook at work so you have that reminder. And remember, once you recruit someone to do an activity with you, you might be doing them more than you're doing yourself. They might need that social connection more than you do. So it's obviously, it's creating that accountability that you're actually a team when you start to do things together as well. But find what works for you. So once you've tried each of the tips, you may find some things work better than others, and that's fine. Whether you prefer the social aspect more than the physical activity, that's fine. But you'll notice a change of behaviour over time. It's an opportunity to explore new places and finding what suits your lifestyle. You're much more likely to stick to something when you really enjoy it. So next slide, please. So health is not defined as the absence of disease, but as a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being. So with that said, it's evident that physical, and this is why this slide was so important, the physical and mental health go hand in hand, and you should hold the same amount of importance when reflecting on your well-being. If you're only focused on your physical health, your mental health will suffer. And the same thing, if you only focus on your mental health, your physical will suffer. So it really does go hand in hand. And I am a huge advocate of physical activity boosting your mood. I know when I'm finding home life, being a mum to 3 children, a nan to 2 children, working a very responsible, fast-paced job, I really need that time to be physically active. And I, being very, very honest, I neglected that the latter part of last year, and it really had an impact on me mentally. And I recognise it was because I wasn't being active, and I'd come out of my routine. And when I threw myself back into it, I was reminded it wasn't actually the physical benefits that I do physical activity for. It's the mental health benefits. It's so good for you. I honestly, if I could get the passion across the screen, it is so important for you. So the next slide, please, and I'll go into it in a little bit more detail over the next couple of slides. So how do you feel after a workout? I get bright red, I get desperately out of puff, I want to lie down, but then I think, oh, I feel pretty pleased with myself right now for giving it a go. So after the initial, what feels like heart attack subsides after a workout, you feel like you've got more energy. Those troublesome worries at the back of your mind, you feel quite ignited. While it might seem intangible, these benefits are real and arguably more important than the results around your waistline. The mental health benefits is just, the physical is a bonus. The mental health benefits are up there. If I was a registered GP, I would be prescribing physical exercise on prescription, on repeat, because exercise stimulates positive endorphins. It clears your head, it lifts your mood, you get the happiness effect when that dopamine and serotonin kicks in. And for those of you that might not know dopamine and serotonin, They're molecules and signals that work throughout your body, and that they're chemicals that really affect how we feel. So when dopamine is released in our brain, we feel a sense of temporary pleasure. Serotonin, while similar to dopamine, creates that longer lasting feeling of happiness or well-being. So some of the things that I put on the slide there are what I've really covered. You know, I might be feeling a bit aggy at home sometimes, and unfortunately the partner, you know, might be on the receiving end of it, and he'll say, will you just go out for a run? Because when I come back, he knows I'm going to be a completely different person. So definitely feeling less angry or frustrated. And it makes you want to eat healthier, because if you eat those, you know, if I have a fish and chip Friday, I know on a Saturday morning I'm a little bit sluggish. So once you've created that behavior of moving more, you naturally then want to fuel your body with those better choices. So the next slide, please, Catherine, which is all around their healthy body and healthy mind. So why is it now that we're only starting to realise that how vital physical exercise is for our mental health? There was an article published in the research of Department of Health that reported 12% of cases of depression could have been prevented with an hour of exercise each week. An hour of exercise, I mean, that's 15 minutes here, 15 minutes here. You don't even have to do it all in one go. If you upped your workouts to 3 a week, you could reduce your risk of depression by 30%. Absolutely, exercise can help you handle stress. It's a sure thing. Neurologists studied brain scans and found regular exercise reduces stress. But when we feel down, the last thing we want to do is go and exercise, right? Everything's overwhelming. You've got no motivation. You just want to crawl back under the duvet, crawl into a hole, and ignore the world. But in fact, the more stressed out you are, the more you need to look after yourself. And a simple workout can be that happy medicine. It's free. Research has proven again, and it's all around research, that it's clinically proven to stimulate serotonin and dopamine. And as you start to do it, that smile will start to get bigger. You need to trust me. Does exercise help with anxiety? So running gives me the headspace to focus on when I'm feeling anxious. It's therapeutic to me. I put a podcast on. A lot of my friends run listening to music. I like to listen to a podcast and often get to the end of my run and I've no idea what they were saying in my ear because I'm just in the moment. But it's much healthier being out than being alone at home with thoughts spinning around in our heads. So why is it a mood booster? Exercise is fantastic for releasing tension, reducing stress and giving joy. Moving more is one of the best things you can do to help bounce back in the times of adversity, getting out of your head into your body and improve your ability to think clearer. I find that when I move more, and that might be just 2 walks a week, 3 walks a week, 1 run on the weekend, and trust me, not all of you have to be runners. That's just what I do. There are other small steps, as we've spoken about. I find that I have more mental clarity. I'm able to deal with more challenging situations at work and manage situations for me and my peers at work. I just feel more mentally switched on and mentally aware. But it's finding the workout that's going to boost your mood. If the thought of hauling out yourself out of bed just seems impossible to climb Mount Everest, as I say, it's all about starting slow, and you can always stop. If that activity is not the activity for you, you can always stop and then try something else. Every stretch that we do releases tension, and every movement makes oxygen flow. There are just simple things that you can do with your arms, raising them up and above your head when you get out of bed in the morning, just to get, you know, that blood flowing around and that oxygen ignited. And it's just absolutely a very small thing that you can do tomorrow morning when you get out of bed, and have that gratitude for being up and being awake and ready to get on with the day. But also looking for your tipping point. Being aware of your mood and how, when you start to move more, how it affects your mood. What are the things that work well for you, and what are the things that you didn't find that work for you? So you continue to switch and adapt. And again, remember, this is a 12-month goal. This isn't, you don't all have to start doing something next week. Plan it. Okay, by the end of this month, this is what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to review it again, see what's working well for me, and do what makes you happy. It may be signing up to, you know, a local walking football, or it might be a football team, netball team. There are a number of physical classes that you can go to. Try not to self-isolate yourself as well. I guess you can break it down. So there are things that you can do to build friendships, which are those group activities. If it's more to calm the mind because you're just go all the time, I would consider trying yoga or Pilates or Tai Chi. All of this, you don't need equipment. If you do it at home, you don't need equipment. I remember when I was a child, my dad used to put tins of beans in an empty pillowcase and use it as leg raisers to get a bit of weight at home. There are simple, affordable things that you can get off any sort of shopping platform, but equally there are things at home. You could lean on the side of your sofa and you could do some press ups. Going up and down the stairs is a really good activity. Gets you somewhat out of breath, but you could say, okay, I'm going to go up and down the stairs 5 times this morning. Again, it's just utilizing tools and resources that we have at home. If you're fortunate to to have a garden, it's going outside, doing a step count around the garden. To release tension, I guess it depends how tense you get. I like to try a bit of boxing now and again. I've got a boxing bag in my garage, and it's a great way for relieving tension. And also trying a HIIT activity. So a HIIT activity is you do it for maybe 15, 20, 30 or 45 minutes without a break, and it's continuous activity. There is a webinar that I'd done this time last year called Getting Active for a Healthier Future, which goes into more detail about energy balance, calorie deficit, and knowing what stages of activity going on your RPE and RPM. So it might be that you might want to have a look at that as well, to look at what stages of what's classed as low activity, high activity might be useful for you. But ultimately, the key is to find a workout that you enjoy, so you'll keep doing it. The satisfaction that you get, hopefully you'll be coming back for more, and you'll get hooked on those feel-good factors and those mental health benefits, not just the physical. So Catherine, can you move to the next slide, please? So really it's about setting realistic, manageable goals. So breaking it down, those more ambitious, by the end of the month, I'm going to have tracked everything I eat and shed 10 pounds, and we need to be realistic. I'm working towards shedding a few pounds, but I'm a realist that I know it's not going to be done. I'm aiming by the first quarter of this year. So if you're planning on losing a little weight, you could do it in incremental steps rather than expecting to lose weight over a short period of time. Again, it's about tracking the fuel that you're putting into your body. What is it that your body needs? Considering what's sugar, what's carbs, what's protein, what's saturated fat, what's healthy fat. There's so many tools and resources available on the internet for you to research this in a little bit more detail, or I could come back next year and go in it in even more detail. But also you can track what you eat as well. There's apps, MyFitnessPal, NutriCheck, so you can just monitor, because sometimes, you know, we might have that extra biscuit or put 2 sugars in the tea, but it's about declaring that you're doing that as well, so you can maintain your calories over a week. If you like to have a glass of wine or a pint of lager or ale on the weekend, it's recognizing you can have that, and you don't have to restrict yourself of the things you enjoy. It's all about having them in moderation. Or if your goal is to run a marathon, never in my wildest dreams did I think I would ever run a marathon. And I was realistic. I knew that I wouldn't be doing it in any quick time, and I just wanted to do it in under 6 hours, which I was 33 seconds short of. So I just done it. You never know what journey you might find yourself on. Just by taking these small, simple steps, and I'm not saying everyone's going to go out there and run a marathon. Absolutely not. Your goal might be to be able to walk a 5k, a 10k, play football for 40 minutes, half an hour, to just be able to do those activities that you weren't doing, that you can build up to do, whatever that small goal is that you want to achieve to get you to move more, whether that's in your home, in your work environment, over the weekend. But new habits aren't formed overnight, so be patient, but plan your goals. So don't wait until the last moment to decide. January is a really good time now to think about what you want to do over the year. If you want to introduce more exercise in your life, consider whether you have any active wear. Your first step is that you go out and you get the most suitable shoes. If it might be walking that you want to do over some hills in a local park, is making sure you've got the right footwear to be able to do that, and making sure that they're really comfortable as well. There are a lot of walking groups, a lot of mental health walking groups as well now, that local GP surgeries are doing, or just on Facebook you can find local walking groups. Or I think the Wildlife Trust do them as well, which encourage you to get out into nature and look at what your surroundings are. But make sure that you're considering, what do I need before I start embracing this journey on being more physically active? And make your resolutions worthwhile. Rather than writing a quick list, give it plenty of thought, and make sure that it's going to add value to your life, your partner's life, your family's life. Some things to do, and I don't know if any of you on the call today have ever considered manifesting. Put your resolutions on a vision board, or if there's a goal you want to achieve, put it up somewhere where you will look at it daily. So in the bathroom next to the mirror, or in the kitchen by the cooker, by the fridge. It's just so you get that reminder of, don't lose sight of your goal. I'm a true believer in manifesting. What you put out into the world, or your good intention of where you want to be, is visualizing that. So sometimes when I wake up in the morning, I don't do it regularly, but I've got a book next to my bed, and I'll write down the things that I want to go well that day. So for example, today I could have written in my book, I hope my presentation goes well today and it's well received. And I visualize that that's how my day is going to go before I've even entered into the day. And it really is having gratitude for me being allowed to do this presentation today and being invited to do it, and manifesting to get that good energy out. There are some great books that you could read, one of them being The Secret or The Magic by I think it's Jane Fonda, if that's something that you want to consider. And I truly believe, listening to people that have had good fortune, that's the journey in which they entered into. But equally, reward yourself as you make progress with any resolution or anything new. Reward yourself for the milestones. So when you've achieve something that you felt at the time was unachievable, reward yourself for it. If you've been enjoying an art class, for example, treat yourself to some new paint, or just make sure that you're being you recognize yourself, because we are our biggest champions. We are the ones that are really hard on ourselves. And if you are hard on yourselves and you make small slip-ups, these things happen. Becoming obsessed over the occasional setback, it can be so negative. Pick yourself up, pat yourself on the back, brush yourself off. Tomorrow's a new day. Don't let it write off your week. And recognize and be kind to yourself is something that I would really encourage you to do. Take one day at a time and do the best that is possible each day for you. Try not to overthink it, and if you have a setback, just get back on schedule and keep moving forward. Again, develop that support system. So when deciding that you're going to do resolution, share them with people, the ones that you would like to have the motivation and encouragement to achieve. Your children can be your biggest supporters to call you out when you're not doing something that you said that you were going to do. I know my children are the first to do it. That's not what you said you were going to do today, Mum. And you can also consider that buddy system as well. But also keep trying. If you find yourself losing motivation, don't lose hope. Just keep giving it a go. Don't give up. Don't be a quitter. You could try saying to yourself, I'm going to commit to my plan for 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours, just to keep yourself back on track. It's tempting to keep recycling old resolutions that we've not kept in the past. Maybe they're in the past for a reason. Maybe that resolution wasn't the right one. So have a fresh dose of motivation to try something new. So I guess final thoughts really. Remember to think what's important to you of those small suggestions that I made about setting the small realistic goals, setting them out throughout the year, walking that little bit more, joining a gym. Of course, they've got great deals on at the moment. Joining the fitness classes, getting an induction in the gym to have a one-to-one consultation, ask your friends what they do for activities, and then that will and start talking to your friends and your peers and the people that you work with. So what are you going to consider doing? I hadn't really given it a thought. They might stimulate something in you that you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to give that a try. Most towns now have a park run or a park walk. My local one has around 300 people turn up on a Saturday morning, and please Google park run or park walk. You don't have to run at park run. They have around 300 people turn up at 9 o'clock on a Saturday morning. There's marshals, they're volunteers, and you can walk or run 5K. They have tail walkers. You will never be the last one to finish. The tail walkers are the last one to finish. You could go there one week and walk it. You'll find yourself talking to people within your community that you may not have had the opportunity to speak with before. Again, a lot of them have coffee and cake after, so it creates that social element. You also get a barcode and a chip, so each time that you go, you can try and beat your time, which some people get really competitive with. If I just turn up on a Saturday morning, that's enough for me. I don't have to try and beat my time every week. I don't do physical activity to exert myself or to chase goals that are really unrealistic. I want to enjoy what I'm doing, and that's really important, as we've mentioned already. It's really about enjoying it, because then we'll commit to it and it can be more exciting. So I hope that many of you will consider some New Year's resolutions, and I hope I've given the option to break it down into difficult activities from the declutter to potential volunteering, and the number of things that I shared there on that very first slide, where you can spread goals throughout the year. But really, if your focus is on getting more physically active and moving more, it's those smaller steps first before we start to consider climbing those bigger mountains. So please reflect on the webinar today. You can go back and view it once it's been posted on the website, and also have a look back over the Getting Active for a Healthier Future, where it was a little bit more detail and content around activity there that might be helpful for you to view. So I think it was the next slide might be questions, Catherine.
Yes, it is. Johnny, do you have, this is our producer, do you have the questions that you could show up for us?
I can definitely read them out for you and pass them on to Leigh-Anne. So we've got four questions. I think most of which you've probably covered, Leigh-Anne. But the first question came in fairly early into the presentation. Someone who's overweight, even though they used to be slim, but they've never really been active. They've never enjoyed exercise. So what their question is, how can they start liking exercise as opposed to just doing it?
I think for that one, it's really finding something that you're going to start to enjoy. And I really would recommend Parkrun for if you're free on Saturday mornings, for going out and doing that walk. You've got volunteers that will cheer you and clap you as you go around a marshalled course. And walking is the cheapest and can be one of the most effective exercises to do. If you're focusing on your weight, it's knowing there's tools on the internet where you can put in your weight and your height, and it will say how many calories you need per day to maintain current weight. You then, if you want to reduce weight, you need to restrict those calories of around 1 to 200 to be really healthy per day. So if your daily intake, it says to maintain your current weight is 2,000 calories. If you restrict that to 1,800 calories per day, you're taking in less calories than your body needs, meaning you're going to burn fat and you're going to burn energy. And naturally, over time, you're going to lose weight. Again, set a realistic goal of 12 weeks. You're going to monitor and maintain. And actually, being really truthful, you could eat what you want within those 1,800 calories. Your body might not thank you for it, but you would still lose weight. So yeah, just find something that you're going to enjoy. Trial and error.
Thank you. Our next question is a bit about sort of kit, and we've got a question from what apps or watches would you recommend for walking to get fit?
Okay, I would. I'm very loyal to an Apple Watch. That's what works for me. I've got apps on there that track my activity, encourage me to stand up, congratulate me when I've done so many steps, and you get a exercise ring, a move ring that goes round, and when you've closed all three of your rings on your watch, you get a all singing, dancing, well done. Garmin is also very good to track. And then I would probably download Strava. So when you go out for a walk on your watch, you can set that you're going out for a walk. You could then stop your activity, and then it will give a map of how far you've walked. Your watch will tell you how many calories you've burnt. And then it also recognises people within the local area that have done potential walking groups, and it will encourage you to maybe walk their route because it's a safe, well-established route as well. There's also a great emergency system within Strava as well. It recognises if you've had, say you accidentally trip up, it sends an alert. It's a fantastic app, so I would recommend that.
Thanks, Leigh-Anne. And next question is, again, what kind of classes or videos do you recommend for a complete beginner?
So I guess for for classes, sign up to your local gym, and it's trial and error. And also, I teach at a local gym, a fitness class, and when I have a new person turn up, I always welcome them. I tell them, you're here for you, ignore everyone else, you take it at your pace. So I would advise you, if you go to a class, is be vulnerable with the instructor and let them know it's your first time. They might encourage you to go to the back, so you can join in as and when you feel that you can. And I always make that person feel really comfortable. So do my regulars that come, make a new person feel really comfortable. And I hope that any gym would give you that same experience. I would recommend the lighter classes first, the Pilates, the yoga, as opposed to going straight in for an indoor cycle session where you're on a bike for 45 minutes. Or there are Les Mill classes and different classes that you can do that are more high intensity. But again, it's trial and error. If you just want to start at home first, there are so many good videos on YouTube that you could say, I'm a beginner and I just want to start moving more in my own home. Recommend me something to watch, and it absolutely will give you those beginners classes, and then you can then start to look for intermediate classes, or even follow Joe Wicks. Joe Wicks has so many platforms and classes right through to beginners, to older adults, to, he's even got them for the children, so you'll work out with the children as well. So I would recommend start small, and again, pat yourself on the back when you've done something that you've never done before.
Thank you. I think that covers off the questions that we had in the chat.
Lovely. Thank you so much. Well, I just want to say thank you, Leigh-Anne, for a wonderful presentation. I'm just going to pop up the next slide there. Thank you everyone for joining today's Foothold webinar. I think a personal kind of quote highlight for me was when you said, Leigh-Anne, if I could get the passion through the screen to you, I would. I really felt that. I think it's really interesting how much the mental health and physical health go hand in hand, and hearing phrases we hear in mental health talks like manifestation and the importance of mindfulness, being vulnerable. It really is all tied in together, and it makes perfect sense. And while you were presenting, I did Google park run, and there's one really near me that I never even knew about, so I'll be doing that.
Oh, you've got to. You can even do it with children, animals. You can have one dog on a lead, and you can do it with buggies.
That was literally my next question was, can I bring my 16-month-old in a pushchair? So yes, I can. Good news.
You absolutely can. Yeah.
Lovely. So thank you so much, Leigh-Anne. I'll wrap up now with just a few closing bits. Firstly, we'd love to hear your thoughts. So anyone who's tuned in today, or if you're watching the recording a few days away and would like to give us some feedback, that would be great. If you're listening live right now, our producer who you just heard from, Johnny, he will put the feedback link into the Q&A chat up the top, and we will also email out the feedback form as well. We would love for you to join our next webinar if you're able. That's on the subject of emotional resilience, the importance of self-care and boundaries. Continuing along the self-care theme, and this time looking at being able to have the courage and strength to say what's okay and not okay for you. So that's on Tuesday the 20th of February at midday, and you can find out about that by going to our mailing list and signing up, or scanning the QR code on the screen there. You don't just have to donate in order to support us. There are lots of fun ways you can get involved, and especially on the fitness theme, you can join Team Foothold and raise money for us. So there are all kinds of things on our website. There are a variety of fun events and challenges taking place in the UK and around the world. So just some examples here. We've got the Brighton Marathon coming up. We've got Team Foothold lining up for that. The Isle of Wight Ultra Challenge, which is basically walking, jogging, running the circumference of the Isle of Wight. Circumference, is that the right word? And the Yorkshire Three Peaks Challenge, which is climbing the 3 highest peaks of the Yorkshire Dales. Not for the faint of heart, that one. So yeah, that's the link there, and again the QR code to get you to our page on events and challenges. And finally, you can connect with us by going on our website, and we've also got all the usual social media platforms: Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn and Instagram. Those are our handles there. And if you've got a question, if you'd like to get involved, you can call us or email us. But also, if you are an engineer looking for support, you can contact us using these details as well, and we'd be happy to hear from you. So that's everything. Thank you very much to Leigh-Anne Cruickshank again for talking us through how we can get fit in the new year in small, manageable ways. And we really hope to see you at our next webinar in February on the 20th. Thank you very much.